Good morning and welcome to the program Eye on Corruption, the Nigerian Situation, a program where we x-ray corruption-related issues bothering our country, Nigeria. We are reaching you under the auspices of Global Coordination for Security and Democracy in Nigeria, an organization that is rooted in fighting corruption in multifaceted ways. GCSDN is an organization composed mostly of Nigerians in diaspora and within. This organization functions to promote the good governance, democracy, protection of human rights, community services, and of course, environmental protection, educational as well as charitable causes. Today, we are on the topic high cost of expression of interest form for prospective presidential candidates in Nigeria amounts to enabling corruption. That is the topic for today. And today we'll be joined by collaborators who will be discussing exhaustively on these and other issues that will be tackled in course of the program. So welcome to the program. Once again, my name is Jude Ehizefa Okale. In recent times, the Independent National Electoral Commission has given a deadline for parties to conduct primaries and put the deadline as June 2022. And this had heightened political activities in the country amongst most of the prominent political parties. Several issues have been questioned by Nigerians regarding the current political parties' modus operandi as it affects the electioneering process. Today, we will be discussing on this issue. Very worrisome to the masses and most patriotic citizens are the high cost of expression of interest forms charged by the two major political parties. The ruling APC has fixed the cost of nomination forms for presidential candidates at 100 million. That's equivalent to $240,884. And for governorship positions, 50 million naira. That's equivalent to $85,470. And for the Senate, 20 million naira. That's equivalent to $34,188. And so on and so forth. Same for the PDP, the opposition party. Theirs is also high. Some people have argued that these astronomical hike in fees for application amounts to encouraging and enabling corruption, because whoever is able to send out this money for application of forms will definitely want to recoup this investment in no time when they are able to get to the parties and are eventually elected under the platform of these parties. And for that reason, they will not be able to do the developmental strides that is expected of them as appointees or elected representatives of the people. In that light, it has been seen as a way of entrenching corruption in the country. What is your take on this? This is what we'll be discussing and explaining today in course of this program. This is a 30 minutes program, and we are streaming live on multiple social media platforms. You can reach us on Twitter, Facebook, and of course, our website, gcsdn.org. In course of the program, we'll be welcoming comments, suggestions, and concerns on the comment section below. You can also reach us on email at eoc1.gcsdn@gmail.com. And your host is Jude Ehizefa Okale. Thank you as we continue the program. Before we go ahead, just a quick intro. Thank you.
Please share this video. Share this video. Wakoyo. A plantain now, don't 1.5 seed of plantains now 1.5. Share this video. Make United Nations here. You say what here? And they go Ghana right about now. Yes, and Nigeria want to relocate to Ghana. I want to go secure one land there first. Share this video. United Nations come to our rescue. 5 seed of plantain is now 1.5. Pure water is now 20 naira. Egg now, we not the fee buy again because the fowl, UCS operation to burn the egg. Share this video. Call your door back there.
All right, thank you and welcome back. The topic today is for the program Eye on Corruption is the high cost of nomination forms by the two major political parties. It is a way of skimming out genuine and honest leaders who will want to sacrifice their skills, their talents for the betterment of the nation, Nigeria. This is the opinion held by most people, and it has been observed that in the past, when people rise to power after spending so much largesse, so much money, they tend to be very corrupt because they will be in a hurry to recoup whatever return on investment, so-called, they have made. So what is your take on this? Join us, submit your comments, concerns on the comment section, and raise your suggestions on this. I will be having some guests on the studio. We'll welcome them as they come online. But in the interim, let's just go ahead, raise your suggestions. Please share this video, share, like, and of course, follow us on the multiple social media platforms. Now, I have something to share with you. There was something that really crossed my path during the week of how some of our very passionate citizens are speaking out about the ills in the country, about the affairs of the country, about how people are being pauperized, how the situation, even in the government circles, are nothing to be proud of, that the government is not sincere with its programs and policies, that they pay a deaf ear to draconian situations that demand draconian solutions. It is mind-boggling that things are happening in this country. Look at the swiftness with which the proposed strike by the airline operators was tackled. But if ASU strike was tackled in that manner, students will not be at home at this time when their counterparts in other parts of the world are studying and developing themselves. Just take a look at this video of some of our very concerned citizens speaking out and speaking truth to power. If every citizen of the country speaks out in this manner, demand accountability from your representatives, these ills that bedevils our nation would have been brought to a standstill. Just sit back and watch this video.
So, the superintendents of the Nigerian misfortune have continued to keep people in poverty. For how many weeks? For the past 9 weeks, universities have been closed, right? This is the 3rd month, right? Universities have been closed. And life is going on normal. I mean, to keep young people who are 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, to keep them at home doing nothing for 2, 3, 4 months, you don't know that you are calling for tragedy. That anybody is going around talking about leadership without this being on the front burner. And that we can sit down and let this go on endlessly It just shows that we have a bunch of idiotic people running the country. Because what you have set in front of you is tragedy. There are people who are experts who have brought out videos and said, keep young people busy. If you do not keep young people busy, you are calling for criminality. An idle mind is the devil's apple. How can we keep our public schools closed for 1 month, for 2 months, for 3 months? And I'm talking of millions and millions of young people. Closed. They are doing nothing. We have not engaged them at home. There's no online learning organized. And we think that there will be a country to run for 2023. We have a bunch of jokers that are running around. And we need to challenge them. If you know anybody who is looking for governor, who is looking for senator, who is looking for president, help me tell him, president of where? President of where? This country that is collapsing now. The minimum we can do is all of us call on our leaders to make sure that the schools are open tomorrow. Call on our leaders to say, this is a tragedy waiting to happen. And it is already beginning to happen. See crime everywhere. We can afford to keep our schools closed? What kind of human beings do we have leading our affairs? Chidebere. What kind, and is it really that we are helpless, completely helpless? Can't we all call those we know, send letters to those we know, bombard them with calls, with letters, to say, this does not make sense? Uncomfortable. Make everyone, ministers, uncomfortable. How can the Minister of Education have a sleep through the night when all the schools that he is superintending are closed?
He just apologized. That's what he did.
And that is why I had said it here repeatedly. As long as we, the Nigerian people, can entertain somebody to be our Minister of Health who takes treatment outside the country, the health institutions will not be improved. As long as we can have somebody who is Minister of Education, whose children are schooling outside, then there will be no improvement in our circumstance. And somebody attempted to raise this in Parliament and they shut him down. And I thought that that was the best bill that was ever proposed in the Nigerian Parliament. And if we are waiting for them to be the one to bring out such a bill and to endorse it, it will not happen. From where should it arise? From the people. We who are victims of their political misadventure, we are the ones to work on it. We are the ones to compel them to make such a law. Because there's something called enlightened self-interest. If I have my son in the University of Abuja, I have my child in the University of Federal University, Lokoja, then I will do whatever it takes to make sure that schools are not closed. Because I don't want to have my child in February at home, in April at home, when he's supposed to be studying. Let's take this up. Let NGOs take this up. Let people of vision, people who have concern for the common good, passion for the common good, let's take this up. And for once, let's begin to run a country the way a country is supposed to be. Otherwise, what do we do with over 200 million people? If this country completely fails, West Africa will not be able to accommodate us. We need to begin to do something.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You've heard from that speaker that we should begin to do something about the ills in our nation. If we all keep quiet, the country will grind to a halt, because the perpetrators of these problems will not be the same people that will change the status quo, because they are beneficiaries of the evil system. They will never relinquish power. They will never change the status quo because they are getting rents from these misfortunes. Please, okay, we can see how much it costs to take the nomination form, 100 million naira. 100 million naira, and there are about 40 persons and counting that are expressing interest in the presidency of the country as of today. The money is coming from left, right, and center. But these same people cannot galvanize resources to fund a genuine cause that will benefit majority of the nation. They are there for their selfish interest. They are coming out for their selfish interest. That is why the money is coming from left, right, and center, as if it is as easy as that. But when it comes to developmental strides, to garner resources together to pull through, you will not see such efforts going on. Please, Nigerians, let's begin to speak out. And there are so many ways you can be part of this. Speak out, organize yourselves, and ensure that the country gets the type of leadership it deserves, so that the genuine and passionate and honest citizens that are out to actually make the nation great will not be skimmed out. And that is why we all must begin to speak out against every ills in the society, against every bedeviling situation in the society. Corruption has eaten deep into the fabric of the nation. It is on record that the hydra-headed corruption has eaten deep, and the only way to change the status quo is for men and women of valor, men and women of integrity, principled men and women with competence and character to come out to this open and begin to speak against these ills in society. 100 million naira for domination is absurd in a country where people have been adjudged as the people as living below the extreme poverty line. About 50% of the population are hardly able to have 2 full nutritious meals per day. It is on record that 91 million people fall below the extreme poverty line in Nigeria as at the end of 2021. If you live below $2 per day, you are in extreme poverty. The international poverty line, currently set at $1.90 a day, is the universal standard for measuring global poverty. This poverty line helps measure the number of people living in extreme poverty and helps compare poverty levels between countries. Several groups, such as the civil society organizations and individuals, have seen the move of this exorbitant fee for presidential nomination as a way to further entrench corruption in our system, and have questioned the justification for the very high costs. They have severally condemned the high cost, noting that it was too outrageous, not good for democracy, insensitive, considering the economic situation of the country as the poverty capital of the world. Now, what is your take on this? Raise your comments in the comment section and let us look at them together. I am going to check the comment section if we've got some comments to look at. Okay, there's no comment at this time. Please, Nigerians, rise up to your feet. Let us begin to speak out against the ills in our society. We cannot continue to do things the way they have been done. Otherwise, we cannot hope to achieve a better result. This is madness. If we continue to do things the same way, that is not benefiting anybody, rather benefiting only the few oligarchs, the few money bags that have stolen our country dry to this extent. I urge you, Nigerians, to look at ways you can organize yourselves into doing things that will help our nation grow, into doing things that will ensure that our nation survive and not continue to remain as a failed state. This is absurd, and we cannot continue to do things this way. Nigeria deserves better than the crop of leaders and thieves we've had over the time. It is being said that it is the diaspora that have the wherewithal, the mind, and the strength to do what it needs to do to salvage our nation from the hands of the thieves. This was amplified by another patriotic Nigerian entrepreneur who spoke his mind out, urging all Nigerians to do their best to salvage the nation from the hands of the thieves, from the hands of the lazy, and from the hands of those few that have held our country spellbound in the times past. I just want you to sit back and watch a little bit of this.
In Nigeria, we should think about what is going on in Nigeria and what exactly we can do about that. Are we on the same page? So think borderless. Borderlessness is the ability of the human spirit from one spot to spot value anywhere in the world and to be able to create solution blueprints that connect to that value, attracting purchasing power and traction from anywhere in the world, meeting it in headquarters in Lagos or Abuja or in Tokyo or in Banjul or in Conakry or somewhere in Senegal. The money home is sending less than 5%. Of Rolls-Royce said many years ago, the future will find less and less of developing, underdeveloped and developed nations. The future will find more and more of smartest nations, particularly those who can author their content in digital format, especially. And so tech has come. The future is a technocracy. It's about people who create ideas, otherwise called technologies, and those who manage them. That is how the future is going to work. And so there's no business in the future. Let me tell you for free. There's no business in the future, and I'm a futurist. I've been doing this thing for over 20 years. There's no business in the future that will not be driven by technology. It doesn't matter what you do. This thing we are doing here in the future is luxury. To have the benefit of human contact in the future, it's going to be very expensive. The future of human contact is no or not. The future has less and less of human contact to guarantee the human function and human malfunction. Diaspora has always been the blessing of nations. If you think about it, everybody you know in the Bible, from Joseph, diaspora, Isaac, diaspora, Abraham, diaspora, Ezra, Daniel, diaspora. Even the idea of Jesus coming down, diaspora, that God came down, diaspora. Jesus went to Egypt, diaspora, coming back home. Israel being formed in a day, diaspora. There is no nation that has grown without a collaboration and organization of its weighty diaspora. The brain drain that we'll experience has now been converted into a potential brain gain. And that gain must be understood by organizing to wake up the diaspora to its socio-economic and political destiny in the continent. The way that we work is that every year, about $48 billion is sent home in remittances. That $48 billion is so huge, it's the biggest income in the continent. But guess what it's coming to solve? Welfare economics. Money for shoe, for house, for rents, and all of that. And we know that anybody living abroad sending money home is sending less than 5% of his income. About 95% is still sitting duck in his host country. Now, if we mobilize Africans to begin to understand that they can repatriate just 20% without losing the 5% that they have before, take another 15% and repatriate it home. But that repatriation now is not for welfare economics, it's for investment in ideas. Such that it's not just Americans who are investing in Florida Wave or in Jumia or in any of these countries. Africans can pool resources together and be the one funding the local ideas here. That is the association between local ideas and global relevance. The idea that we will pool funds in our brain gain and bring it home to fund ideas. So we need more incubators made by Africans for Africans, more accelerators made for Africans by Africans, intentionally searching for ideas, investing in ideas.
Thank you very much. That was mind-blowing. We need to organize, we need to strategize, we need to begin to do things in a different way with the consciousness that we need to change the status quo in our nation. We cannot leave our nation at the mercy of the thieves that have caused the problem we are in today. For them to solve these problems, they will not do it, and it can never happen. Let us begin to organize, sensitize our people, and let us all do the needful before they finish us. Let us all do the needful before they finish us. Please, and let that be your core principle in moving ahead to salvage our nation. Begin to do things differently. before they finish us. And I am going to look at the comment section once again and see what we have in the comment section. Okay, Zeno D. Aaron's the only is here. Where is people's money you stole? Okay. Don't know what that means. All right. Thank you, Zeno D. Uh, the politicians are not helpful. They are there for their selfish interest. We must begin to organize and put people who would truly represent the interests of the masses. You know, the fight in Nigeria is between the thieves and the victimized masses. Please take note of that and begin to organize, strategize, socialize to ensure that Nigeria gets the kind of leadership it deserves come 2023, if it's possible. If 2023 is going to be possible, let us begin to strategize and begin to do things in a different way. Let us begin to demand accountability and responsibility from our so-called leaders, because people are not speaking out, people are not questioning, people are not demanding accountability. That is why they go with impunity. And we must all begin to realize this. The earlier we realize this, the better. Let us begin now. There's another comment section. Say, Aaron has stolen money from many people and he is on the run. Mr. Runaway is at it again. That's their stock in trade. Thieves, political thieves. They're everywhere. They continue to lord it over us and use the stolen money to go and take 100 million nomination forms. That is it. Okay. Another comment from Edith's ID. Oh, Lady Mama, well done, comrade. Thank you. Thumbs up for you. Thank you, comrade. I appreciate that. Nigeria needs your collective responsibility to get to its promised land. Please like and share our video. This is the program Eye on Corruption, the Nigerian situation. Today we are looking at the high cost of electioneering expenses in Nigeria vis-a-vis the expression of interest form at 100 million naira. If all these people are queried and their source of income investigated, we will be having a big elephant in the room. So please, EFCC, be on the lookout and begin to track the source of funds of all these so-called political aspirants or candidates, because we cannot continue to do things the way we have been doing. The status quo must have to change. Nigeria deserves better leadership than team of robbers, team of pen robbers and looters. We need to salvage our nation from the hands of the thieves. Credible people with competence and character must be in charge of the helms of affairs of our nation. This is our wish, this is our cry, and we must achieve them in our lifetime. We cannot bequeath a failed state to our children and our children's children. No longer is that going to be accepted. Nigeria deserves better than this crop of leadership, and we must say no. We must say no to the brigandry. We must say no to intimidation by political juggernauts. We must say no to all kinds of evil that bedevils our nation, Nigeria. This country has been blessed by God. This country has been endowed with human and capital endowments by God. Today, these have been squandered, and we need to return to normalcy. We need to return to normalcy and ensure that things are done the way they ought to be done. The advanced countries of this world are not as endowed as us as a nation, but we are today the poverty capital of the world. This is unacceptable, and we must change the tide. We must change the tide, and we must change the tide. Our GCSDN is engaged in a lot of activities, notable amongst which are charity works, and this is there are some of our charity works. So we provide support to organizations and communities. There's a project currently ongoing providing water to the Moro local government people in Kwara State. Please, if you are touched, kindly support our efforts in this regard so that these people in the Arodo community will have potable water for consumption. Just sit back and watch this video.
On behalf of the Global Coalition for Security and Democracy in Nigeria, Frederick Oderige, we are here at Arodo Village, Moro local government of Kwara State. We are here with the geosurveyor to come and commence a scientific investigation on the soil. We all know that this project is long overdue. We all saw the video that went viral by the NSU, and this place is very. You can see the source where they got their water is very horrible.
This is a community called Lara community in Moro local government area of Kwara State, Nigeria. This is their source of water supply. They drink from the pond like drinking from the gutter. They drink from the same pond with goats, with cattle, and with dogs. They take the water home to take their bath, to cook, and to drink. Sometimes they put alum before they could drink. Is this permissible in the 21st century? These people need our help. Please, the Global Coalition for Security and Democracy in Nigeria is calling on you to join us to drill a water borehole for these people. Let us do this. It is possible. This must not be allowed to continue. No. No. No.
Thank you very much. Please, if you are touched and you are moved to support our work, kindly donate your contribution to the UBA bank account on the screen to see that this water project comes to fruition in record time, and the community will forever be grateful and will bless you. Thank you very much. And on that note, we'll come to the end of the program. This is a weekly program brought to you by Global Coalition for Security and Democracy in Nigeria. We're streaming on multiple social media platforms, on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and of course our website, gcsdn.org. Reach out to us with comments, suggestions, and concerns, and we will reach back to you as soon as possible. Thank you for watching, and we will always be at your service. Please, Nigerians, rise up to the challenge to salvage our nation. We must not allow this nation to fall. We must not allow this nation to fall because we cannot afford to bequeath a nation of this nature to our children and our children's children. Thank you and have a good day. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I sign off as yours truly,